What is up, everybody? This video is basically just going to be an update video on everything, a quick look into what is going on. I'm basically trying to keep my daily upload streak going. I've only missed one day in the last week or so, and I don't have time to edit anything tonight. I have one video waiting to be edited, but my computer's going to take 8+ hours to process, so I'm not going to have time in the morning before I leave to upload it and get everything done. So I'm going to make this video, not edit. I'm just going to upload it raw exactly how I copied off the GoPro, so hopefully I don't screw up. But you guys probably already noticed it didn't have the intro. It's not going to have any edits. Nothing's going to be cut out. It's going to be exactly as I recorded it. So first thing I want to talk about is the next video coming up is going to come out probably Sunday night, or, well, yeah, Sunday, sometime on Sunday probably. I'm going to be working on this. I had to fix a fuel leak on the high pressure fuel line. I mentioned in the reveal video that the fuel lines were pretty rusted out and it blew out. It's probably been leaking for a while, and I would explain why I had such terrible gas mileage. And then I also did some front brake work, just put new pads on it and just checked everything, lubed everything up, greased everything. GoPro battery's saying it's almost dead. That's cool. Hopefully I'll get done before it actually dies. So that's coming out soon. But I basically want to just give you guys an update on what is coming up with this thing. And then a quick update on the Eclipse and my plans for it a little bit. So first of all, I got this bad boy sitting right here. This is a Traclock limited slip rear end out of a 1995 Dodge Dakota. Found this at the junkyard, and it was actually the weekend of New Year's. Went out in the freezing cold. It was like 10 degrees. Went out and pulled this thing by myself. I had to come back like the next day with help to carry the thing out. Nate came down and helped me actually pull it out because it was just too heavy, and I didn't feel like dropping the leaf springs out of the truck that I pulled it from, so we ended up having to pull it out the side, which worked, but I needed 2 people there to actually accomplish that because it was just way too hard because there's a wheel stuck on it. So one lug stud is missing. The other one we had to torch out just to get a wheel off of it that was stuck. So the plan for this is to first of all strip it down, inspect everything, make sure the diff itself isn't like trashed or anything, and then I'm going to go rebuild the brakes, replace all the brake components, pads, drums, cylinders, all the hardware, lines, the hose. Everything is going to be replaced. Going to do a quick inspection of the diff, pull the cover, then just change the fluid, maybe paint this cover up, clean it up a little bit, and get a new seal or plug for it because it looks like that thing has been leaking. And then that'll be one video just rebuilding this and getting it ready to go. And then another video we'll be putting it in the truck and then maybe doing a burnout or something, testing it out, of course, because you have to. It's mandatory. What's cool about this is it came out of a 1995 Dodge Dakota, so same body style, same generation and everything. It also came out of a 2-wheel drive V8 truck, so everything bolts straight in. It's not like the Durango rear ends where they're a little bit wider and the struts don't quite fit. They'll work, but they don't quite fit, and you end up going through struts because they are kind of tweaked a little bit. So this is a complete swap direct, and it's the 8 1/4 inch rear end, not the 9 1/4, so I'm not going to have as much parasitic loss as I would with the large 9 1/4 inch rear end, because I do not need that with the V6. And I mean the 9 1/4 is pretty much overkill on this truck. I do not need that, so I was glad to find one with this. It's really, really hard to find a limited slip rear end. It's even harder to find one in a 2-wheel drive truck. It's really unusual. It was totally optioned out truck. It had the extended cab, long bed. It was the 2-wheel drive, which is kind of weird, but it was a V8 SLT, had power everything, power windows, mirrors, and locks, which sucks. Somebody ripped all of the components out of the doors, so I would have grabbed the doors and put them on this truck. It had power stuff, but yeah, it was a fully loaded truck, and it had the bigger brakes, the 10-inch brakes instead of the 9 inches. My truck has the open diff 9-inch brakes. This is limited slip 10-inch brakes, so I'll have a brake upgrade, and then of course having all the new brake components means I can finally bleed my brakes out, which will be nice. So not only will I have properly functioning brakes, but I'll have bigger brakes that'll have more stopping power, which is pretty cool. So that's the plan for that. That's all going to be coming in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to try to stay on top of editing and uploading so I can maybe keep the streak going pretty good. And then in the future, I want to go through the front brakes, completely replace everything, calipers, rotors, pads, and maybe hoses. And of course the wheel bearings are integrated into the disc brake system, so it's all one piece, which is kind of annoying. So I have to replace the wheel bearings as well, or I could reuse the old wheel bearings. If I'm in there, I might as well just spend the extra like $20 or $30 to replace wheel bearings, because it'd be kind of silly not to if I'm already down there and doing it. And then I would like to build a custom roll pan for this thing with extra set of lights for it. And I want to put some of like the trailer lights in the roll pan itself, and do like a custom light setup, so I have more than just one bulb for each function in the back of the truck, just in case one goes out. I won't get pulled over or ticketed for it, or God forbid somebody not notice me stopping or something, or pulling out in front of them or something and hitting me or whatever. It'll just be really nice to have that. And then I don't know what else I'm going to be doing to this thing, really. There's a couple little things I want to tinker around with on it. I would love to lower this thing at one point, but the lowering kit's expensive. And of course I've got the Eclipse going on, so I'm trying not to spend too much money on this. I just want to fix this thing. I only want to spend money on stuff that fixes it and makes it, more reliable and more drivable. I don't really want to modify it too much yet until the Eclipse is squared away, or at least until I have plenty of parts and money saved up for the Eclipse. Which means to bring you to the next thing I want to talk about, which is the Eclipse. So what is the plan for it? Well, first of all, I can't work on the car until I'm into my new shop, and we're still waiting for stuff. I don't know how long it's going to be. I'm not really worried, because I figure in the meantime, while I'm not paying rent on a shop and not working on it, I can just save money and order parts here and there. And then once I'm into the shop, I can tear the whole car apart, go through everything, see exactly what I need, exactly what I don't need. I'm going to be getting a tax return here pretty soon. I've been saving money and going to continue saving money, so I'll have good amount of money to spend on the car, get a bunch of parts ordered so that I can keep plenty of content coming out related to that car. But basically the plan for that thing is once I'm into that shop and it's in its, pretty much its permanent spot, I'm going to go through it. I'm going to strip the entire car, basically just down to the bare chassis, fix all of the rust on it, which isn't that much, fix strut towers, and then the below the rear quarters, just a little bit of rust there. Fix all that, do all that work, and then once all of that is done, I might go underneath of it and do some work to the frame rails because they're kind of smashed, and I'd love to redo those and clean the underbody up, respray it, clean everything up underneath of it. I want to replace all of the suspension components in the front, so that's all the control arms and bushings, just with OEM stuff, inner and outer tie rods. I want to do all new wheel bearings. I want to do the Outlander brake upgrade, the 0405 Outlander brake upgrade, because it's OEM parts, but they're like an inch or two bigger in diameter than the factory brakes, which is cool. And of course in the back I want to do all new brakes, new wheel bearings. I want to use the stock knuckles that are on the back of it, but put some poly bushings in it and get all of that dialed in. And then once all the suspension work is done, I want to go into the rear hatch, cut that floor out and replace it with just a flat piece of floor, and then put a 10-gallon fuel cell in there, run an inline pump, and redo the entire fuel system so that I'm ready to go for however much horsepower I want. The cool thing about having a fuel cell rather than the fuel tank is, one thing, it's lighter, and it will also make it a lot easier to service and just work on everything basically, and it'll be a lot easier to upgrade it because it'll be a little bit easier with an inline pump and everything to run whatever sort of fuel setup I want in the future when I do eventually end up adding power. And then once all the body work's done, all the suspension, brake work, and fuel system work is done, and the car is officially back on all four wheels sitting on the ground, and then we'll get to the engine. I've already mentioned it once or twice before, but I want to get a built transmission for it. I can't remember the name of the company, I always forget. But there's a company that makes built transmissions for that car. Basically take cores, the factory case, and then put all much better internals into it, and of course it comes with a limited slip differential when you buy it as well, which is cool. So it's a pre-assembled unit. It has everything I need for pretty much however much power my 420 is going to be capable of for a very long time. So built transmission, I'll probably put an eBay clutch in it to start, to go with that, OEM axles to start, because I'm just going to be on the stock bottom end on that engine, so it's not like I'm going to be making too much power. Something else internally on the engine is going to give out before the trans and factory axles do. And then as far as the engine, stock bottom end, as long as when I pull it apart, nothing is out of whack on it. I still have the oil burning issue. I don't know what it was. I don't know what was causing it. I believe it's probably just a small crack in either the head or the head gasket that's doing it, because it just does it on and off whenever it wants to. I went out after that day that it burned a ton of oil on me when I was passing somebody. I went out the next day later and just beat the snot out of it and couldn't get it to burn any oil whatsoever. Couldn't get anything out of it. So it's like there's just a crack in the head gasket that opens and closes whenever it pleases or something like that. I'm not really sure. And then as far as, bottom end, like I said, it's completely stock. Going to leave it 100% the way it is. And then top end, I want to do Brian Crower springs and retainers, and then keep factory cams and factory lifters and all that stuff. Factory car doesn't have, the 420As don't have cam bearings, so I don't even have to touch those. I'll just put my current cams that are in my current engine into that new head that I bought, and then put it all back together. I'll go through and lap all the valves out, make sure they're good. I'll get the head machined at a professional shop and cleaned for me, and then have that all squared away. And then I want to do a couple other little bolt-on things. I want to put an underdrive pulley on it for the alternator. I want to put an OEM Exidy flywheel on the car so I can get rid of the flex plate. The 420 has a really weird like flex plate clutch setup, which I'll probably show you guys later. But I want to get rid of that. Put just factory like OEM weighted proper Exidy flywheel on it, because I believe the car has an eBay flywheel. It's not balanced very well, and that's why the thing idles like crap. Or it's just the factory weird clutch setup on it that is making it idle weird. I don't know. I've heard of a lot of other people having idle issues on their 420As, so it may just be a common thing, but I want to get rid of it, eliminate it, because I'm sick of it. It's really annoying. And then once all that's done, we'll put the car back together. I want to get FIC injectors put into it, and then I'll put it back together, get the car running and driving, naturally aspirated, get everything dialed, break everything in, make sure it's all good, get it retuned with all the new parts, everything freshened up, and with all like the bigger injectors and everything functioning properly, get it retuned, see how much power we can squeeze out of it, naturally aspirated, give it one last run NA and just see how much we can get out of it. And then once the car's dialed, we'll go ahead and turbocharge it after all of that. But I do want to see how much power I can squeeze out of it in NA, just because I would feel like a fool if I didn't. And then, of course, getting it retuned with different injectors would be a good idea, so that once the turbo's on it, I'm not, driving it and running too rich or something and risking, potentially damaging rings over time or anything like that before the turbo is on. And then we might potentially be able to make some tweaks to the tune in preparation for it being boosted, just in case I do get into boost before it gets properly tuned, I won't, be at as much of a risk of blowing it up. Which of course is going to happen eventually, but that's the plan. I do also I'll need to get a full alignment done on the car once all the suspension gets put back together. I want to get a new windshield put on so I can see. I want to get the tint redone on the entire car so that the windows don't look like garbage. The back window's totally shot. I want to fill the holes where the old winglets used to be on the rear hatch. I want to put new fenders, maybe a new hood on. I want to put my facelift headlights that I have on. I want to get a facelift bumper. I'm looking at one Duraflex bumper on eBay. It's like a $150 bumper, and it doesn't look too bad. It looks close to OEM, but it's a little bit different, and it'll work pretty well once I have the intercooler on the car and everything. I just want something that's not like horrible, ugly 90s Rice Boy stuff. So that's the plan with the Eclipse. All this is going to be happening once I'm into the new shop, so in the meantime I'll just be saving money and ordering parts for it as I go, so that once I'm in there and the car is ready, I can just tear into it and start working on it immediately. And I mean, that's pretty much the plan for the car. And then of course, once everything's dialed, we'll boost it and see how much power I can squeeze out of it. Probably going to shoot for around 250 horsepower just to play it safe for a while, so I can enjoy the car, not risk blowing it up as much. And then if I get bored of it, or if it lasts long enough that I just decide I want to just send it and see how much power we can squeeze out of it, we'll go ahead and do that. See if we can maybe break the 300 horsepower mark on the stock bottom end, which I think would be pretty cool. And that's pretty much it. That's the plan for that car. I'm going to kind of keep it semi-budget, a nice mix of eBay stuff and proper stuff. Everything that's really key and really important to the build, everything that's really crucial and has to function is going to be name brand stuff. And then of course like stuff like intercooler piping and just some of the other little odds and ends are going to be a bunch of eBay stuff. But I'm just going to do a nice mix, make sure that any eBay stuff I do use basically will be stuff that's been proven to work and proven to be reliable and trustworthy, and all of the other stuff will be proper, like the FIC injectors and stuff. I'm looking at I think they're 550 cc's or something like that. They'll be enough for the amount of power I want to run for now, and I don't want to go really big and have idling issues, because I already have enough idle issues as it is, and I want the car to be a nice, fun, street-ish car at least. I want it to be a street car. I want to be able to enjoy it, drive it around, daily drive it if I want, at least in the summertime when the weather is cooperating. So that's the plan with that car. That's a quick look into the plan with this, and I guess that's pretty much it. I don't know if there's much else to update you on the vehicles. There might be a couple other little things that I do to the truck here and there. I have some parts that I had bought for the green truck a long time ago that I still have, like a headlight conversion to run sealed beams, so I can get some nice projector headlights for it if I really want to. And I've thought about if I do end up lowering it, maybe some, I don't know, some diamond steely wheels on it or something. I'm not trying to go super Stains Boy on it or anything, but I would love to lower it and get some nice steely wheels on it or something like that, just to make it look really nice. I like mini trucks, been obsessed with them forever, and this thing's pretty much perfect for it. So that's all the updates on the trucks, projects, everything going on right now. So the last thing, we're approaching sort of 1,000 subscribers. We're at, I think, 840 right now at the time that this video is uploaded. I think if you guys can let me know in the comments below if you would think this sounds like a good idea, but I think around 1,000 subscribers we might try to do some sort of a Q&A. So if you guys would be on board with that, let me know. I think a Q&A would be pretty cool. I don't think we have quite enough people watching regularly to really get enough questions to make it interesting. So if we hit 1,000 subs, let me know if that's something you would like to do. And then, of course, maybe once I get to that point, I will make a video asking people what questions they would have to ask and see if I can get enough questions, because it'd be kind of boring if I had to just insert my own question just to keep it interesting. So hopefully we have enough people watching regularly that I can get some good questions going on. Maybe even potentially do a live stream. Maybe I'll do one video ahead of time where I ask you guys to leave comments in, and then the actual Q&A will be a live stream so people can have ask questions live in the little comment section it has. But that's where I'm going to leave you guys for today. I think I did pretty good on the not screwing up as I was recording, so I'll be able to upload this thing totally uncut, raw, just as it is, fresh off the GoPro. But that's going to be it. Like I said, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, come back, and watch whatever else we've got going on, and I'll see you guys later.